everybody. My name's Alison Partridge and I'm Managing Director of OneTech.
And hello, I'm Emma Obanye and I am Director of Platform and Community at OneTech.
So together, Emma and I are going to tell you a little bit more about the OneTech initiative. First of all, I'm going to outline the problems that we seek to address. So you'll see some pretty shocking statistics about the investment landscape in the tech ecosystem. 90.8% of capital raised in 2020 was raised by all male teams. In the UK, which is where we're based, for every £1 of venture capital investment, less than 1 penny goes to all female teams. And if we start to look through a more intersectional lens, less than 0.02% of venture capital was received by Black female entrepreneurs in the decade between 2009 and 2019. So we set up OneTech to try and address some of these difficulties. So our vision is a just and equitable tech startup ecosystem where everyone has equal access and voice. And I think it's also important to say that one of our goals is to disrupt the status quo in the tech world. And we want to do this because we need to acknowledge that the tech world was created by men for men. And it's very exclusionary when it comes to women really seeking investment. And actually, there are different ways of doing this. So we're trying really hard to work on the demand side and to help the stakeholders in the tech ecosystems, investors, accelerators, and other providers of support within tech to change the way that they do business as well. So we spend a lot of time trying to hack the existing systems and structures and create new and different ways of doing things that are more accessible to the women that we target.
So since we launched in October 2018 with JP Morgan support, we've actually engaged over 1,700 founders and supported 420 individuals and 260 businesses. And of that, actually 76% of those people that we've supported have actually been female. So if I just deep dive into the activity that we actually carry out, we have 4 main areas of activity. So first of all, we've got our events. We have a range of incubator support, so for people at various different stages of their journeys. We have a range of different support as well, so everything from mentoring, coaching and accountability groups, so peer support. And we provide access to workspace and membership, and enhanced access to investors and accelerator opportunities.
Our biggest challenges has been making sure that we reach the people who need the help the most. Initially, we were really focused on diversity, by which I mean engaging more women, more people of colour and people from different diverse socioeconomic backgrounds into the programme, irrespective of how much they needed the programme. And increasingly, we focus more on inclusion. So I think we've learned over the last 3 years that diversity and inclusion are not the same thing. You can achieve diversity in a programme without being very inclusive. And I know that sounds a little bit perverse, but actually we've found that accessing the founders who need the support most means we have to have a much more of a focus on inclusion. There are lots of people in this world who are able to seek out opportunities for themselves. One of our biggest challenges has been to make sure that we're enabling the people that we're targeting, and specifically women and people of colour, to find out about a programme and to make sure that we're really able to support the people who need the help the most and not just those who would get access to the help anyway. Emma will talk a little bit about some of the issues that are faced specifically by women on our programme, particularly when it comes to investment and what we call imposter syndrome.
There's a difference, I would say, between the support that the female founders on our programs have reached out for. So things like, as Alison mentioned, sort of low confidence or imposter syndrome is something that we see quite often. Being a woman in the investment world can be quite tough. I think there is a need in some ways to kind of be very, very similar to the way a lot of men would tackle gaining investment. One of the things that we've done to combat that is to have quite an emphasis on coaching. Specifically, we have a member of the team who focuses on coaching and mindset, and really kind of supporting our entrepreneurs to actually overcome some of the barriers that they have, which are normally internal barriers. So one of the things, actually going back to some of the changes that we made, was to become much more integrated with the communities and the entrepreneurs that we serve. And so really getting to know them and providing them with a service that is much more bespoke to their needs. And so for super early stage founders, that could range from engaging or piquing their interest via an event, kind of meeting them where they're at, but also providing like a tech theme around that, bringing them in to understand a little bit more about them and then suggest pathways for them. So we have a range of incubators that might start from a sort of ideation weekend, that's like building a business over a weekend. We have our funding readiness program, which really kind of helps to introduce entrepreneurs to the full spectrum of funding that's available. And we've recently launched a program called Bootstrap School, all about helping entrepreneurs from sort of really early stages to actually become more revenue focused, essentially. And so Bootstrap School takes you all the way through from ideation, let's say, all the way through to revenue in 12 weeks. And as well as obviously all of the support, so the 12 weeks content, each founder gets a small grant, about £1,000 to spend on tools and, technology and digital support to support them on those early stages.
So OneTech has a number of different funders, both public sector and private sector. I'll focus here on the public sector funders. So we do work with the Mayor of London's Digital Talent Programme, and that's simply a funding mechanism which enables us to deliver talent-focused support to young female entrepreneurs in London to enable them to access tech entrepreneurship careers within the capital. But probably more relevant to the Gendered Landscape partners is the work that we do with 8 different London local authorities. The relationship we have with them is around funding. They do give us funding to offer our services specifically to the residents and the businesses that they serve. But probably more important is that they help us to really reach out to the communities who need our support the most. So in North London, the 4 boroughs that we work with, Camden, Islington, Hackney and Tower Hamlets, each of them has appointed a community engagement manager, and that community engagement manager exists purely to help us to make sure that we're working with residents and businesses who need the help most. And in that programme, we're helping many businesses run by women to look at the impact of the COVID pandemic on their business, and perhaps to pivot to a slightly different tech-based offering. By way of an example, we've had a market stall holder who has never accessed a computer before. Clearly, her business completely failed because everything was closed for so long last spring. She's been through our Survive and Pivot programme. She's bought herself her first computer. She's now able to trade online and she's back to in-person trading. But she's completely pivoted her business model as a result of the service that we've given her. Now, we would never have found that woman had we not been working with the local authority. The local authority runs the market. They know the impact of the pandemic on the market stall holders. They were able to see where there was an opportunity for a tech solution to non-tech businesses, and we were able to help offer her support. So that's quite a good example of where the close working relationship between us as providers of support within tech, the local authorities as the people who really understand their local economies and communities, where the two can come together and create better value.